Just waking up in the morning. Come on, puppies! Come on, guys! Hey, let's go! Come on, everybody! Hey, good dogs, good dogs. Good dogs. Hi, guys. I know. All right, good dogs, good dogs. Good girl. Oh, good girl. Hang on there. All right, go potty, everybody. Come on, go potty. Good dogs. Good dogs.
So what you just saw was the puppies waking up in the morning. They sleep in the back of the house, and they usually go to bed around, we try to push it out as long as possible, but around 9:30, and we get them up around 6:30, 7 at the latest 7:30. They're usually ready to be out of there. And in the back we have a tray. It's like what you buy at D&B that goes in the bottom of a kennel, or that you put your boots on. Plastic tray, and we put pellets on it for the puppies to go to the bathroom on, and then the pellets just dissolve and turn into like sawdust, and then we can easily dump them out. That's how we start training the puppies when they're like 4 weeks, 3.5, 4 weeks old. They start moving away from their bed to go potty in a spot, and so we give them a spot to go potty in. So they do a really good job. They typically do not ever poop in the back. They will go to the bathroom a few times. We do cut their water off usually around 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, just so they have fewer accidents. But again, these are very small puppies, so that potty training process should be started pretty well. During the day, we just let them out whenever they're awake, and we just have them go potty, and that happens a lot throughout the day. So after that, as you saw, we take them out, and they're pretty jumpy, climby, loud, whining, and it's really just them saying, hey, you left me all night long. We have 12 of them, so it's going to look very different than your experience with one or two. And so they're just wanting to be touched and petted, and sometimes held whenever they're this little. You don't have to hold them, you can just kneel down there. And some of them are just way up in your lap and they want to be on you, and other ones just kind of are off to the side. But they're just saying, hey, you left me all night long by myself. And our older dogs, in the morning, whenever they wake up, these guys as parents, they say, hey, it's me, I want to talk to you again. So that's what happens kind of in the morning. Some of those puppies want to be outside for 30, 45 minutes, and other the puppies will just go back to the door after 10 or 15 minutes of going to the bathroom and kind of sniffing around and playing, and just say, hey, I'm kind of ready to go inside. So each puppy is going to be a little bit different on their wants and needs. We do tell them when they're outside, just go potty. In terms of what we do for correction, when they're jumping or biting or putting their mouth on you, not necessarily always biting, we try to assess, like, is this something they're doing aggressively, or they're just wanting attention and to play? And that will depend on what you're wanting from your puppy. If you're okay with your puppy being a little more mouthy, is the word that we use for that. Ranger really likes to put his mouth on someone's wrist. He did it more so when he was younger. He doesn't do a ton of it now. If you're okay with that, then you can let some of that slide. And if you're not okay with that, the first step that we do is just say no, kind of leaning down, looking at them, saying no. You can do this a little bit in slightly different ways for different situations. If they're super amped up, I find a lot of times to get a little bit quieter, but that could be because we have 12 puppies. And so if they're all barking at you and they're all attacking you, just getting louder and louder and louder kind of amps them up. So going quieter and softer and calming them down and even shushing them can be helpful. And then we tell them no. And some of them just back off right away. Like, my finger's down by their face and I tell them no. If they're biting, say pants or boots or something like that, kind of that like pinching of their lips onto their teeth, so that hurts them, a lot of them will just release right away as soon as you touch their muzzle. I flick their muzzle sometimes as they get older. Sometimes that hurts my finger more than I'm sure that it hurts their muzzle. But at these young ages, just a quick flick and they're kind of like, oh, okay, I'm done. Next step would be to put your finger in their mouth, and trainers say that is almost kind of giving them that gag reflex of like, oh, I didn't want to do that, kind of like that pinching of the tongue. And then the next step would be to do what other dogs do to get the other dog to submit, or to say, hey, I'm the alpha dog. And so to pin them on their backs, you'll see Jazz doing that here with some of the puppies. And she just says, hey, I'm going to put my mouth around your neck, and I told you don't do that. And she holds them there until they submit. She a lot of times holds them there beyond submission. And so we will do that, where it really just takes one hand. You can do it barely holding very much a lot of times, and just say, hey, I told you no. And we just specifically say no, and then we're waiting for them to submit. If they're not submitting fairly quickly, you can use a growl, and it's just you're imitating what another dog does to get them to submit, and their legs do need to flay. And there are some of these puppies that take longer, and there's other of these puppies that I would guess there's a couple puppies that have probably never ever been pinned because it hasn't been necessary. But it might need to be necessary in your house and for maybe some of your kiddos to show their dominance, to say, hey, I'm above you on this food chain, and this is a no. So you do need to establish some of these things fairly quickly, just because they're really cute and they're little right now, but this behavior can build. Another thing I think it's important to think about is some of these things that the puppies do that are very cute at this age might not be cute later on. And so to think about those things as you're training them and as they're doing them, and maybe not to encourage it because it's funny, or just to laugh at it and let it happen. And that might be like sweeping the floor. You know, whenever you get the broom out, that they just start attacking it and biting it, and it's funny, and their bark when they're little is so cute, and all the things. Just to be really friendly with it and get down on their level and say, it's okay, it's totally fine, and just make it a fun thing. And then they're like, okay, that was nothing, I'll just ignore that. A lot of times it's just them understanding that they don't need to be scared of it, because the reaction can be that they're just scared, and that's why they're barking, and they're not actually being aggressive. And so you want to decipher some of those things. That could be the same with a vacuum cleaner. You have a long-term problem with your dog constantly barking at something that you don't want them to bark at. That could be the doorbell. It could be a vehicle starting. It could be somebody coming home. Some of that's very inherent, and they're just saying, hey, that's my person coming home, and you're okay with it. But you do need to establish, like I said, some boundaries within things, because they do grow up and some of that stuff sticks with them. Some of it goes away and some of it sticks, but we want you to enjoy your dog, not to hate some of the behavior and then try to fix it afterwards. You're seeing a lot of the things that we just do with the dogs on a daily basis, taking them out and exposing them to things. We have snow. It's not spring here, but you're going to want to expose them to water, so they're not scared of water when you're walking across a ditch or going on a hike and getting to a lake. Some of them are already starting to play fetch. They're going to follow food in your fingers and be able to turn and, start teaching them how to sit and stay and sit for their food is another really great first step. We put our hands in their food when they're eating. They've gone on side-by-side rides, as you're seeing here, and just experiencing those different sounds, and even the movement of a vehicle is just really fun. This is Cinch here, and he's too big. He can't fit underneath the couch anymore, and he's so sad. And Teeter, the little teal puppy that you see her behind in, she's teasing him, and she pops her head in and out. He is just so mad at her, and she goes and she chases him, and it's just fun little things like that you can play with them and do with them. And a lot of you guys have other dogs, not necessarily Mals, but they'll end up doing the same sorts of things. So hopefully this has been helpful to help you be successful with your dogs. Jazz just did the same thing back to Teeter. Teeter was like, oh, she probably had no idea what she was even doing. And Jazz was like, nope, you can't go there. And, they're just playing and being normal dogs.
So here's a good example of how needy Mal can be. Just outside playing, everyone acting tired. So we come inside and everybody just needs attention. Needs snuggling time. Huh. What in the world? Oh, so alone out there. Everybody just wants to be with you all the time.
Teeter. Oh no, you're not tied back anymore, are ya? Teeter. 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 Good girl.